I'd like to call this meeting to order. We'll have the invocation by Councilman Joel Robert and the Pledge of Allegiance. Joel Robert.
God, thank you for another day. Thank you for another opportunity to sit here with my colleagues and make Ascension Parish a better place. Help us through this storm, help us through the COVID, and help us all see the good that is prevalent around. In your name we pray. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to have a roll call. President, Joel President. Before we get started, I'd like to recognize the past president, Mr. Clint, and the mayor of the city of Dawsonville, Mr. Leroy Sullivan. And we'd like to recognize all the city parish employees. In this inclement time that we have here, we appreciate you all coming out to the meeting tonight, and we hope that we get something out of it. At this time, we have number 3. We have acceptance of the minutes of February 6, 2020. Motion.
Second.
Minutes accepted. Motion passed. Number 4, we have St. James Parish Ascension Parish drainage issue update. Mr. David Wild.
On the St. James Assumption Parish drainage, which covers the Bayou Napoleon and Verret, talked to Mr. Dennis Email, that was engineering on that project. Right now, that project is at a standstill for some issues that the levee board is involved with, and they're going to be getting with the senator and a representative for our area, and addressing some financial issues on that, and try to move that job forward. And that's all I have on that right now, Alvin. We're hoping that some information that's going to be passed on through the levee board and to Mr. Email to try to talk to our senator and representatives of our area to try to push this forward for the project to get started on again. So that's all I have on that, unless you have something else you want to add on that you may know of.
That's it?
Yeah, that's all I have, at this time.
Let me, I talked to Mr. Senator Price today, and he advised me that the project on Napoleon and Verret, that they'll be starting it back up next week. So that information, I'd like to just pass it on to the public and allow the DPW to know, and talking to him earlier today. So we appreciate that and thank him for that. At this time, we have any other questions?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'd like to have Mrs. Faye Caldwell to come up and have a speaker.
All right. I'm here to talk about the drainage on Cotton Drive. I've lived on Cotton Drive for 18 years, and before 6 years ago, the water would get in my front yard maybe 8 feet. When the grass company came, they put a dam on a canal that goes, I was told, it doesn't go to the bayou, but it doesn't go from the bayou. I was told by many farmers that what happens is when Bayou Napoleon and Bayou Verret backs up, the water would come into that and go to the bayou and relieve us of the water. It rained for 20 minutes Tuesday, and it looked like my property was a lake. It has nowhere to go. I have been dealing with this for at least 4 years. I have been to the parish over and over and over and over, but the other administration did nothing. David and Clint have really stepped up this week and has helped us out. And I'm hoping what they're doing is gonna help us, but I really don't think it is completely gonna help us, because I went and I investigated the dam. I also spoke to the president of the grass company, and he basically told me, do you think I would have put a dam without permission? So when I left there, he said, so what can I do to solve this, Ms. Corbo? And I said, remove the dam. And he said, that's not gonna happen. And I said, well, there's nothing that you can do for me. I said, I just have to go further. I don't know what else to do. The next day, he sent an insurance adjuster to my house. They said I made a claim. I said, I never made a claim. I just went to get information on a dam. So they came to check my house to see if I had any damage, which was, I don't know why they did that, but anyway, I didn't have damage on my house. I do have damage in my property. I've lost chickens, that my yard flooded and my chickens drowned, you know, stuff like that. So I'm just at a loss right now. I just don't know what else I can do to get this done. And you know, they are doing the ditch and everything, but if we get rain like we have this week, we might get it in our house. And my neighbor down from me, a couple of weeks ago, their septic tank, when we had that big rain, overflowed into their house. It's because the water has nowhere to go. And in my backyard, we own all the way to the back. Everybody on Cotton Drive owns, like, the back land, Mr. Fernandez. There's a ditch in the front on Cotton Drive. There's a ditch in the middle that has culverts. And there's a natural ditch in the back. David said on the map, it said it was a canal. Someone down our street said we had permission to cover that canal, but it drains on my property to go to the back. But as it gets to past Alan Roy's house, it stops. It doesn't go. So that means all the water comes back into my yard and gets in my flower beds and ruins my flower beds and everything. So I'm just, like I said, at an end. I also have an article that I found in the paper that some people on St. Patrick Street sued this sod company in 2017, and it says that they're blocking this canal, that the bayou has gone the same way for 200 years. That canal went towards the bayou, and now it doesn't go. And I have pictures that I took of it where it's blocked. You can see they put stuff down. There's no way. They got it deep on the side that they want the water to stay, and going to the bayou, they left it the same height. They're manipulating the water to stay for them to water their grass company. You know, they said they shot a, whatever you call it, I don't even know what you call that.
Shot a grade.
And it's 22 feet at the bayou, and it's 14 feet behind us. That's fine, I understand that. But that doesn't mean the canal is 14 feet at the back. The canal was always the same height. You know, it's like this. It was straight, so the water would come into the canal and go out. Now it's 10 feet deep on this side and still, 4 feet deep on that side. So it can't even go in there. So I don't know what else I can say, but, and I spoke to someone who had the lawsuit. The lawsuit was settled. It never went to court. It was settled, and they did get compensated. Didn't say how much, and when I tried to find out, they won't tell me. So I know it's, just hush hush.
Thank you, Ms. Corbo. Is that it?
That's it.
Thank you very much.
Hope y'all can help us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
In talking to Ms. Corbo and talking to Ms. Tony, a group of them called me about a month ago, and I went out and looked at the situation, advised them that I would be getting my team of people, the experts, to go out and find out exactly what's going on. And I think at this time and in David's report, he will be explaining to us where we are, what we're going to do, and how we're going to go about doing this project. So with that said, I think Mr. Robert had something to say.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Coming back to what you were mentioning of the project with David, it is the St. James Assumption Parish drainage issues that he updated on us before. I wanted to bring that light into what's going on at That's your property. Do you have that map showing the different ditches and whatnot that you showed me?
What we got is, no, I don't have that map, but, you know, these are the photographs.
Yeah, and what I'm referring is I came and talked to them this week, Mr. David Weil and Ms. Kim, about this particular situation. And from what I understand, the project that they are putting back online, the St. James Parish Ascension drainage project for Verret and whatnot, is going back up in 2 weeks. Once that goes back up and it starts widening the drainage, it should resolve a lot of this issue. And what I was looking at, the topography and whatnot of the map, and I'm not saying they're not causing it, and it.
Can I just speak one more time?
Yeah, go ahead.
We did not have a problem. The canal has.
Yeah, come up, can you come up here, please?
Come up to the mic, okay?
The canal
Come on up.
has never been dredged since I'm there. Never been dredged. I spoke to a farmer also who said, since they put the dam, they're flooding their fields. So what I'm saying is, we never had this problem before the dam was put there.
Absolutely.
And the canals, Bayou Napoleon and Bayou Verret, has always been blocked.
Absolutely. And what I could tell you as far as our stance here, I mean, like Coach said, we'll be behind you however we can to resolve the dam aspect of it.
I just don't understand.
But as far as the other side of it, if you look at the topography, and I could be wrong, but from what I looked at in the office with Mr. David, I'm not saying they are not flooding you now because they don't have anywhere to go with this other drain stopped. The project where we're doing over there, the water has nowhere to go. Because the water actually, if you're on this side, the turf company is here, the water wants to go this way.
Right, but
But
when
it can't because all this is clogged up. So in the meantime, we're hoping that this catches up to where it drains where it's supposed to behind it. And that can't hold water to you. It would go the other way.
and I understand that,
But
but why?
you're saying it can't do that with the.
What I'm saying is, before the dam was there, we didn't have the water problem. So even if Bayou Verret or Bayou Napoleon was backed up and blocked, it always went out. We never had the problem of having it. Once the dam was there, that's when the problem came. So how is just doing that gonna stop the water? It has to be something with the dam. I don't understand why nobody in authority can explain to me who will let them put the dam, and why is the dam there, and why are they getting rewards for their property and their business and hurting the homes in Donaldsonville that we have been here paying taxes our entire life. They came here 6 years ago, and we're getting flooded. St. Patrick Street's getting flooded. You know, our property's getting ruined. My yard is washing away.
Do we know who gave them permission to do the dam? Has anybody?
Moose said O'Neill was gonna check on this 4 years ago, and I never heard anything yet who gave them permission.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like I said, this is the first I've heard about it this
Yeah.
past week. And,
I've had some extensive, okay, I'm sorry.
yeah, I was gonna go ahead if he's good, yeah.
Very good.
Okay. I've had some extensive conversations with, Faye and a couple of other ladies in the area. And I told them that I'm gonna look into this, extensively to find out exactly what's what. There's no real good answer for this right now, and I think we talked about this. The only thing that I jumped on because of that concern is we're trying to address the two ditches on the other side and see if that'll give us some relief until we can look further into this situation with Warner. I never got with them yet because I wanted to get enough information before I go and really talk to Warner Turf in questioning them on this issue.
And this project that I'm referring to,
Finish.
I've gotten some information from O'Neill tonight. It's really extensive, so I hadn't had a chance to really look at it all. And I'll be getting back with you and the councilman and filling them on all of the information that I find out from this issue, Faye. And I know you've talked to Alvin, and you've talked to me. We brought Clint down there, and right now, I can't sit here and tell you that we have a real solution, but we do know that the Bayou Verret and Bayou Napoleon will give us some relief. But until we get that project resolved, it's gonna really help the whole three parishes out. But then again, at this point, I'm gonna keep digging in this until I can find you some good answers and have our councilmen some good answers to where they can take this to another step to address.
Can I just say one more thing? What's gonna happen this weekend when it rains 10 inches? And
Well,
they have
again,
the dam blocked. I mean, they have 2 gates that blocks this off, that the culvert's way down here. It's like a silo they have built up there, a silo. You got the pictures, don't you?
Yeah. Faye, I promise you this, okay? I will go and talk to them tomorrow and try to address the issue and lifting that thing up in these heavy rains to see if we can get some cooperation from them to help us during this time with the hurricane coming up. And again, when I get that information, I'll let the councilman know and Clinton know exactly what the results from that conversation that I had with them tomorrow.
All right, thank you.
Mr. President.
Thank you, Chairman Thomas. It's a little early to decipher exactly the cause and effect of all this situation. I can tell you that we're all working together, not only with legal, but with the Drainage Department here to determine. I don't think we have all the facts, is what I'm trying to get at. And we need to make sure that we have all the information necessary, not only on an engineering standpoint, but also on a legal standpoint here. And so there's a lot more information to get. There is very little we can do other than the ditches we've opened up for this rain event. I mean, that's just a fact. I do also encourage Mr. Wild to go speak with this gentleman to see if he would open that during this rain event and maybe have that communication and that willingness for that to happen. But that's going to be a simple request and only a request. So we have a lot more information to gather that we'll hopefully be able to bring back to this board so we can make a judgment call on where we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Carl, Ms. Carbo, just to ease you, I know you've been fighting toward getting things done in Ms. Tony and about 6 or 7 others more back in that area. As Mr. President just stated, we are working toward getting this solved. I mean, I know this is a problem that just hadn't been, it's not going to be a problem we're going to fix overnight. We're getting all our legal and getting everything in place to try and get things in order so we can figure out what's going on and we can relieve the situation. So with that being said, I'd like to have Mr. Shane to come up for just a minute and shed some light on some of the stuff. And the reason I want him to come up is because, I mean, he's a lifelong resident of Cotton Drive, and he has some other information. He's a GSA, he's one of the engineers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, we've looked at this. Of course, I'm also a resident of Cotton Drive, so I'm with my neighbors tonight. I'm not here representing any particular entity other than my neighbors. So, but Faye did a very good job of explaining it. David did a very good job of explaining it. All of this system has to work together, and all of it has to eventually get to, the majority of it has to get to Bayou Napoleon. That is the major tributary for our area. Bayou Verret takes the Point Homeless area, brings that across by the hotels, brings it into Bayou Napoleon, and all of that has to go through St. James Parish to Lake DeZalman. So that whole system is part of what we're talking about. And the improvements that are being made through LaPeace Field and some of those other areas are going to help this situation. Stephen Berg is here with me tonight. Stephen took our drone. We did a bunch of aerial stuff. We took a bunch of aerial photographs in the area. We did not go on to the turf farm, but in our aerials, we actually did it from the public roadways and the headlands that allowed us to get close to the turf farm. We didn't go on turf farm property. But there are, based on these aerial photographs, there are some, Faye's correct, there are some changes that have occurred on the turf farm. We're not quite sure why they were done, what they were done for. We assume, based on the information that we have found to date, is that they do it for their irrigation purposes. They actually shut some gates and close some ditches, that they've got some ditches that are closed, that at one time used to be open, but they use that to irrigate their turf. So there are some changes that have occurred out there. The changes or the improvements that are being made today will help. There are a couple of areas, David, that if you want, I'd be happy to show you our photographs, but there are some other areas in the channels south of or southeast of Cotton Drive, some of the major channels that could use some excavation. But I think your plan, at least for the short term, getting a plan in place with the turf farm over the next 4 or 5 days until you can address the issues during the, I guess, the storm event is critical. But cleaning out some of there are some areas that can be cleaned, and then working out something with the turf farm certainly is important to getting them through. I'm further up the street. I know it's gotten worse, but we don't see the water that Faye and them see toward the end of the street. There's 8 feet of fall from Highway 308 to the back of our development. There should be no reason why we have any water anywhere in Cotton Drive unless it falls, but it should not stay there at any length of time. So all the improvements that are being made, we think, are going to be part of the solution. They're not the total solution to the problem, but collectively they will solve the problem. We think will alleviate the problem. So happy to share the maps. You're welcome to have them. Anybody want them? I've got a few copies.
Yeah, I'd like to see one.
I got let's see, I'll get one of my neighbors back here. These are, put together some information. You're welcome to look at them and see how it all fits together. These are the aerials.
Okay, appreciate it, man.
You're welcome. We're happy to sit with you, David, anytime, and we'll show you what we saw. And
Okay.
I think with a couple of days, I know you've got a lot more to do than deal with engineers. So
I
we'll be
love
happy
you guys, man. I love to deal with engineers.
Got any questions? I'd be
All
happy
right,
to answer.
any questions?
I got a statement, not necessarily a question for Mr. Shea.
Mr. Rubin?
What I'm thinking here is, ultimately this is gonna handle it, but until then, with this turf farm, the turf farm is obviously doing this to irrigate their grass. So it wouldn't theoretically be a problem for every time they have a rain event or every time they have some type of storm coming that they could open the dam and drain all this out. I think us reaching out to them should make them understand that working with us here, ultimately, once all the rest of this is worked out and fixed, they could possibly keep the dam there for good, if it's raised up for those events and whatnot. I would like to be involved in that conversation whenever you do talk to them. Like I said, I don't see any negatives to growing grass. If it's raining, that you need extra water, maybe we could work it out. Yes, sir.
One more point, y'all don't mind?
Yeah, go ahead.
If I may. The main channel that Faye is referring to is a channel, and the mayor's here, which also will, my comment is addressed to the mayor as well. All that eventually gets to Bayou Napoleon. But if anybody knows, I know most of you know where Evangeline Drive is. So that channel right there that runs along Evangeline Drive by the hospital, I know y'all have had to wade through water at the end of Evangeline Drive from time to time. All of that ties into the same system, okay? A long time ago, before my time, if you can imagine that, that's a long time ago. The channel that Faye's referring to, which runs through the turf farm, which comes back, there's a bridge on Highway 308. It comes back under Highway 308. Majority of the time, no water drains into Bayou Lafourche from surrounding land. We're South Louisiana. Everything drains away from us in most cases. That channel under the Police Jury Association, way back when, was dug to alleviate some of the drainage from The Evangeline Drive, Prevost Memorial Hospital time, it will allow some of that water to flow back to the Bayou Lafourche. It's very deep, and there's a bridge there. You don't see that. Don't see that in very many cases. So we think that that's part of this whole solution, that something's got to be done during these heavy storm events. That does provide some relief, or it would provide some relief, all right? There are some channels back there. If you look at those aerials, David, there are some channels back there that used to all interconnect. They have been completely not dammed, I mean just filled in.
Yeah.
I mean, just filled. You can't open them unless you go take an excavator and excavate them. But there are some, as we can appreciate, with gates in them. We've not been on the property to look at it, so I don't know what all they've got there that's changed the flow patterns in that area. So all of those things we think are important. Everything's got to come through those two channels, Irish Canal, into Bayou Napoleon, and out through Lake des Allemands. So it's a huge drainage area. Huge drainage area. So, thank y'all.
We'll be looking.
All right, thank you.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, go ahead, Ms. Coleman.
Okay. I have pictures of the dam, if anybody wants to look at them. And I went walk on the property where nobody seems to can get on their property. If they asked me what I was doing, I was gonna tell them I was looking for my dog. Anyway, so I went and took pictures of the property. Going towards Bayou Lafourche, that side, okay, if they're telling me the water comes from Bayou Lafourche, then why are they not damming that side up to keep the water that comes into Bayou Lafourche to water their property? You see what I'm saying? They saying it comes from Bayou Lafourche. That's what the guy told me. The grass company told me that it comes from Bayou Lafourche. So why would they not dam that side up? That side, I'll show you if you want to look at these pictures. Behind, this is the dam. Right here. Can you see it? This is the dam. They have two gates there. Okay? This is the bayou side, right here. You see how low that culvert is right here? And they got this all blocked off? All right. This dam is at least 10 feet higher than that culvert. All right? So that water, plus they dug, you can see where they dug. This is deep, deep, deep on this side. I bet you it's 15 feet deep where they dug it so they can hold the water. So they always holding water. But when it rains, they're not letting the water go through because they want that water. And the little bit that goes through, this gate wasn't open when I went. Look what's going through with the trash. So it has to go over that, then it goes into that drain and drains. So they just, see, this is the side by the bayou. Look how low that water is. This is the side by, there, look how they did this. And you can see the thing. So, I know what y'all saying, but we never had a problem before they dammed it up. We never, ever had a problem. I've been there 18 years, and we never had the problem. I spoke to farmers up there, and they told me the same thing. It used to go to the bayou when the other canals would get backed up, it would take it to the bayou. So, and I hope what they're doing can help us, but I just want,
Yeah, good.
I think we're all pretty much at the same point and saying the same thing here. We're gonna resolve it, we're gonna get to the bottom of it, we're gonna do everything we can to take it through the end here. So, I appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Ms. Coble, and, are there any other questions? Again, we'll have the experts come out and check things out, Ms. Coble and the residents of Cotton Drive. We'll be out there, we recognize the situation, and, we'll have our people to come out and do exactly what we need. We thank you for your patience, and, if there's any other questions, give us a call. At this time, Mr. David, I think we just about covered your report.
Yep.
Cotton Drive. You have anything else?
No, that's it on that subject, yeah.
Our report, we have Herbert Turner, a supervisor of DPW.
We did several major cover blowing on Highway 1. We blew several on Highway 1. We blew one on West 3rd Street. And we also cleaned a bunch of major covers in front of the ditches on, Oak Ridge and the 943 loop. And we distributed a couple of sandbags at, Lemmerville Park, Aitken Park, and we also did Township Road, and we have 3 more locations where we need to bring sandbags at. And that'll be all 6-hour stations where we bring our sandbags.
Is that it? Thank you, Mr. Turner. Next, we'll have David Wow with the Executive Assistant.
Okay, we got a little statement here I want to read out to you guys, to the public. It's great to be back at full swing. I would first like to start off by informing the West Ascension Drainage Board that we slowed down during the COVID, but we're still working with a small crew assistant citizens during that time with the public. We did accomplish quite a few things, even though we wasn't working with a full crew. During the COVID time, we were abiding by all of the CDC rules of self-distancing, and when we were riding around in our trucks, we were, practicing wearing our respirators and doing the things that we needed to do during this time with the COVID. But now that we're all back, we want to let the public know that we are on top of things right now and addressing issues on cleaning different canals and addressing blowing out culverts with the drainage situations. Of course, in your package, you'll find the updated information on the dashboard report and a number of work orders and the complaints that have been put on the dashboard. We've been addressing those as quickly as we can. Some of them that we couldn't address, we couldn't because the river was up high. The Corps of Engineers were restricting us from digging on some of those job requests. But right now we're in hurricane mode. We are addressing that. We checked all our equipment out. Purvitt and them been on top of checking the generators out, all our equipment. Around our shop area, he's addressing areas in reference to anything that can fly. And we would also request our citizens to look around their yards and stuff like that to take care of those things during this hurricane that we hope it's a mild one, right? We are looking at all our drainage and culverts, and today we are blowing out culverts again in Crescent Place. We addressed some issues in there that came to, that was put on our plate, so we kind of addressed those. Some in Smoke Bend, I think Purvitt may have mentioned those. We are going to be putting out some signs in reference to littering. I think we're going to be placing those and seeking help from some of our people in addressing some of the trash and stuff that's been left on the side of the roads and stuff. During the COVID-19, it was we only had small crews and we couldn't address all of those issues that we had in reference to that. But Purvitt and them and the crew's been doing a real good job in reference to keeping up with the grass and addressing some of the canals and ditches that we need to have addressed. We still have plenty of work to do. As I walked around and looked at things during this COVID time, since it was a little slow, and gave me an opportunity to really look around on the west side. And we got some things to do, and our guys have been really putting their best foot forward in addressing those issues. But we got a lot of stuff left to do, and I'm more than sure Purvitt and all the supervisors and the guys and ladies are really doing a great job in addressing everything that we are challenged with out there. That's all I have, Al.
Thank you, Mr.
Yeah.
David. Mr. Romeo.
I just have a quick question. Kimberly Harris, Mount Bethel Lane, Donaldsonville. I see investigating is the current status. This was February 26th, and other than this one, they all seem to have been completed, planned, or not done for a given reason. I was just curious if we have looked into this particular issue, and
Is that
if
the
not,
one,
if that could be up on the list there.
is that the one you had kind of brought to my attention?
No, this is not. This is one I'm actually looking at on the report that you have. It's 1942 is the project number.
Have you looked at that?
Kimberly Harris, Mount Bethel Lane.
On the, Mount Bethel, in reference to,
Channel
Channel
maintenance,
maintenance or
drainage management, yeah.
did we look at that one yet?
Ronald, I wanna check that out.
Okay. Yeah, we're still investigating that right now, Joe, and,
And the only reason I bring it to
Yes.
the attention is because the other one that is pending investigation is from May. So I know you're behind with the COVID, everything else. I just wanted to point out if we could get to that one as quickly
Yeah.
as possible.
yeah, a lot of these things that we're investigating, Purvitt and I are both going out there and looking at these things and seeing, you know, what we can do to address each and every one of these, concerns that are, and I'm encouraging everybody, you know, Joe, to use that 450-1200 number, because we, you know, a lot of people call me and
And I just wanted to make sure that we're
Yeah.
taking care of it, because I rode out there with you this past week, and I feel like the Mount Bethel area, that whole Lemonville area has been neglected for too
Yeah.
long. That's why I want to make sure we get over there and get them taken
Yes,
care
sir,
of.
we are on
Thank
top
you.
of it, yes.
That's it?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. I also want to thank the DPW, thank Mr. David, doing an excellent job. I want to thank Ms. Kimberly for being very prompt, being very communicative, and being very much on top of things. She came over a couple of days ago or last week. She's doing a good job. I want to thank her for that, and thank Mr. President for doing such a great job. And at this time, we'll have the date and time of the next West Ascension Drainage Board meeting. July 2nd? July 2nd, 2020, 5:15. There's no other question. This meeting is adjourned.